Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jimmy and Ike of Jimmy and Ike, and today we are angry. Our latest feature to the show for Random Show is going to be Random Rant, or also Rant Relay if you would prefer. We're going to be talking about a bunch of various topics at a very angry volume, and we're just going to pass it off to each other and rant about different things throughout the course of the episode, so enjoy. Here we go. Ready? Let's go!
I just took an exam for forensics, and forensics is a great class because it's cool. You get to learn about all these cool things like justice and how to solve crimes and stuff. But I just took the exam, and one thing that I do not like about forensics is how much you have to study biology, specifically cell structure. I hate that. However, I received the exam guide a couple weeks ago, and I looked at it, and last night I was studying, cramming real hard, as I do. I don't really do, because it's...
You never study.
I never study, but I do now. And I did study, and I studied really hard. And you know what happened? I went and I took the exam, and there was nothing on the study guide that had anything to do with organelles. Now, organelles, you don't know, are the little bits inside of a cell that make up the bits of a cell, like a Golgi apparatus and a plasmic reticulum, all that other stuff. But there was nothing about that on the exam besides mitochondria because of mitochondrial DNA. So I go into this exam and there were so many questions about things I had not studied for at all in the slightest, and it makes me mad. Why even bother having a study guide? Tag me.
My turn. Speaking of tests, I'm going to talk about standardization. Oh my gosh, can you freaking believe it? We have so many tests down here. We've got EOCs, we used to have the FCAT, we have AP exams, ACE exams, this, that, and the other. It's ridiculous. And even after you take all these standardized tests from the state, you then have to take tests for your classes individually, and you just hate it so much because so much testing, it drives you insane. I had to sit for 6 hours for one test it was a couple days ago, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I hated it so much. I was like, why are we sitting here for 6 hours? We're not even doing anything. Like, we've finished most of the test, and you just have to sit there for 6 hours doing absolutely nothing. It was ridiculous, and I hate it so much. Now, another thing that comes with standardization is that a few years ago, standards were actually lower than they were now, and we had a bunch of schools that were always achieving grade A status. And for those of you who don't know, the higher grade you achieve on when you're being judged and evaluated, you get more money from the district and the state and all that stuff. And so what they did is they realized they started losing money because so many schools were getting grade A standards. And so what they did is they said, well, let's save money, let's raise the standards so that people don't do so well when they're being evaluated, and we'll save money. And so you're punishing people for doing well? What kind of a method is that? Like, there's no sense whatsoever in that idea. It's that, oh, they're doing so well, so we're going to make things harder on them. And what you're doing is you're comparing them to, they're completely different people. It's like you've got person A and person B, and you're going to compare person B by what person A did. And person B is not person A, so person B can't exactly do what person A did. And so it's just ridiculous that they have to do that. And now everybody's being punished for it. Like, schools that used to be grade A's are now grade C's, and it looks bad on them, but really it's not their fault because the standards are being raised to ridiculously high levels because people just want to save money, and apparently money makes the world go around. Tag me.
Jack Sparrow and Han Solo are the same person. Alright, I know, that sounds stupid, but they're the same person. I want you to think about this and think about it hard. Okay, you have Jack Sparrow, who is a pirate. You have Han Solo, who is a smuggler. Now, Han Solo has a Millennium Falcon, which is the fastest ship in the galaxy. But Jack Sparrow has the Black Pearl, which is the fastest ship in the ocean. Now, both of them were owned by somebody else, but he won it somehow from his weird friend, Barbossa, who is for Jack Sparrow, and then Lando Calrissian for Han Solo. You also have a hairy first mate. You got Chewbacca and Gibbs. You've got a big slimy monster man that one of these people owes a debt to, so Jabba the Hutt and Davy Jones. Now, here's spoiler alert for you. At the end of the second movie in both of these films, this character, Jack Sparrow, Han Solo, gets entrapped somehow and has to be rescued at the beginning of the third movie by the other characters. By the way, those other characters are a female protagonist and a male protagonist, both of whom are white, beautiful people who love sword fighting. So, there's that. Tag me.
Alright, on the topic of movies, I'm going to talk about people that go to Marvel movies nowadays expecting it to be exactly aligned with the comics. What you have to go into the mindset of is that this is not a direct representation of what the comics have portrayed. Yes, the comics were amazing, and they still are, absolutely. I'm not saying that the comics are bad, but the movies are tending to lean more towards a family-oriented experience where everybody can come in and enjoy it regardless of prior comic experience. So people like me who have never picked up a Marvel comic book in their life, well, actually that's not true, I have quite a few, but anyway, if you haven't read a comic book before, you could still go to the theaters and watch the latest Iron Man or Avengers or Captain America, which is coming out soon, which is going to be awesome. And you can still enjoy the movie, but what lots of people go in there is they start nitpicking everything. Like, this movie wasn't intended to be perfect, it was intended to be enjoyable. So what people are refusing to do is they're refusing to accept the fact that this movie is not the comics. You've got the Avengers who are, they're gonna band up to fight Ultron, and it's like, I've heard complaints as, each member of the team represents one description of a human being and one alone, like, Iron Man is the arrogant, while Captain America is the leader. And you know, that's just their cinematic personalities. Like, that's who they are, and that's what makes for a good movie, is you've got a conflict of personalities that leads to conflict and resolution. And sometimes through those personalities, they pull together, and it's just awesome to watch. And it's just, I could not find, personally, any fault in Avengers 2. Like, Age of Ultron, more like Age of Awesome. It was absolutely an amazing cinematic experience. If you haven't seen it yet, you should. It was absolutely amazing, but still, on Rotten Tomatoes, it was hovering around like a high 70 percentile rating. Lots of people were calling it a rotten movie, and it was a real big letdown. I'm like, how is this a letdown? Like, Phase 2 of Marvel movies have been building up to this moment, and it did not, for me, disappoint. Now, if you have a different opinion and you say that Marvel 2 was, Avengers 2 was okay at best, well, that's your opinion and that's fine, but, I mean, it's still a good movie. I mean, you can't just say, there's a flaw in it, so obviously it's a bad movie. Yes, there's going to be flaws. No movie is ever perfect, but this movie particularly was enjoyable, and that was its intention. It wasn't intended to be perfect representation of the comics where everything is exactly in tune with the comic lore. It was intended to be this good experience where everybody could go in, have a good time, and go out talking about it, laughing about it, and having a really good time about it later. And that's all that I have to say about the matter. Ike, any closing remarks?
No, alright, so, if you're gonna make a study guide, put things on it. Standardized testing is weird for a number of reasons. Jack Sparrow and Han Solo are the same person. And don't go into a Marvel movie expecting it to be exactly like the comics.
That's exactly right.
If you disagree, or agree, or you have some other weird statement, post in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. All that information's in the description down below. And we will see you tomorrow with Topical Smoothie.
Brief disclaimer. We are not saying that our opinions are the only opinions that matter and that they are the correct opinion at all. If you have a different opinion, that's fine, and that is your complete right to have that opinion. And it is also our right to disagree with your opinion, but we still respect your opinions and we want to hear about them. So if you do disagree, tell us why in the comments, and we'd love to respond, maybe have intellectual discussion about the subject matter. But please don't take this as, we think we're like the best and right and everybody should agree with our opinion. That's not what this is. This is simply us expressing ourselves through a form of a YouTube video, which is freedom of speech, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, freedom of speech. So
something we discuss in the next rant.
Yeah, something to discuss in the next rant. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you liked it, again, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, we'll see you next time. For less ranting talking to us, watch Topical Smoothie tomorrow. Blah!